blessed this morning to hear the Beatitudes. The word beatitude means blessing. This is one of the most highly regarded passages in terms of summarizing the teachings of Jesus that exist in all of the Gospels. You know, in this lectionary that we read from, of course, it has all the readings that we hear every day of the week, the Sunday readings. There are the recommended and expected readings for Advent, Lent, Easter. Then there's a whole section of the lectionary that deals with readings for special occasions. Everything from the ordination of a priest, to the dedication of a church, to the 25th anniversary of marriage, to the blessing of the fleet, the blessing of the harvest, the blessing of a new day. In all of these special occasions, the most common recommended reading is the Beatitudes. It's sort of a one-size-fits-all kind of passage because it summarizes, in essence, very practically, what does it mean to be a believer? I was thinking that, the pandemic, one of the things with the pandemic is it sort of created its own vocabulary that nowadays when you hear certain words, you know exactly what someone is saying. Like, can you take a Zoom meeting at 3 o'clock? 3 years ago, I would have had no idea what you were talking about. If someone said, I don't know if you heard, but I'm positive, you would think, oh, great, you always struck me as a forward, uplifting, happy person. Now we know that means you tested positive for the virus. Another word is frontline worker. A few years ago, we probably wouldn't have really understood when someone said, I'm a frontline worker, what that means. Now we know that's a nurse, a first responder, a doctor, someone on the front line of caring for the sick. In many ways, the Beatitudes are written for the frontline believers, people that are on the front line of being church. And as we listen to these remarkable Beatitudes, we hear a lot of what it means specifically to be a follower of the Lord. You know, in the Gospel of Matthew, there's always many layers. Sometimes the context of the passage is more meaningful or as meaningful as the actual passage itself. For instance, this passage begins with, when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountainside. Well, for an observant Jew, he went up the mountainside would be very reminiscent from the Old Testament when Moses went up the mountain. Moses went up the mountain to receive the 10 Commandments. And when he received the 10 Commandments, he sat down on the side of the mountain to teach the Israelites. In this passage, Jesus goes up the mountain, but he doesn't go to receive the law. He goes to give the new law of the New Testament, the new covenant, a covenant that is based on being poor in spirit, of walking with those who grieve, to be with the meek, to work for righteousness and to thirst for justice, to be merciful and single-hearted in our desire to be a better person, to be a person of courage, to stand up for what we believe. These new laws are blessings for us to meditate all the time. How, as a frontline worker, was I merciful today? When did I stand up for those who have no advocate? When did I seek peace rather than division? When did I try to build up rather than to tear down? These are all such powerful invocations for the frontline believer, someone who takes their faith seriously, someone who goes into the world not to pontificate, but to be an actual instrument of the good news of Jesus Christ.
Have a beautiful day.
Thank you for joining us for the celebration of the Mass today. It's a blessing that you are with us. Every broadcast of this liturgy goes out to hundreds of people and hundreds of people all over the world. It's been an enormous blessing. If you'd like to support this virtual ministry of OLPH, please go to our website. You can support this ministry by going to Give Central so that we can continue to broadcast the liturgy each and every week. Thank you for your support. Most of all, thank you for joining us today. God bless you. Greetings from OLPH.